everyone, it's a Turnbuckle Bandwagon. Thanks for joining us today. My guest today, she is the baby draw, Space Jesus, the CEO and founder of the big Starkz brand, Billie Starkz. What's up, Billie?
What's up? How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for talking to us today. I wanted to get into, the New England scene. I'm in New England. We got Beyond and Limitless up here versus the Midwest scene, Black Label Pro, freelance. Talent is popping out there, and you're a big part of that.
Oh, thank you. I feel like wrestling as a whole is been really, really creative the past couple of years, where it's getting better and better, and we're working to make everything as new as exciting as possible.
And the environment y'all have generated out there in at Black Label Pro is great. It's opening, it's inclusive, and it's direct. I mean, at the start of your shows, you announce, there will be no racism, transphobia, any of that tolerated. How important is that to just openly say it, not just assume everyone's going to be nice, but to openly say these things are not acceptable here?
I think it means a lot to know that people who are part of those communities, that company is for them and they want to be protected and say, we are for you, and we want to say, hey, we want you guys here and we want you to enjoy wrestling and feel like it's safe. And I feel like that's a big part of wrestling today, is making sure everybody feels safe and wanted.
And how does that translate to the locker room environment?
I feel like it creates a really great locker room of just really good people who just love wrestling.
Now, as for you, your career is relative. You kind of just getting going. You've been wrestling since 2017, 2018?
I've been wrestling for about 2 years, so about 2018.
Okay. And where did you train? Who did you train with?
I trained at Grindhouse Pro. I originally trained it with Rudo Lomata, and then I started training in this past few months with Ronnie Roberts.
And in culture of training, what are the things that you've taken that, there's just been this big discussion about training and the right climate and the wrong things to do. In your experience, what have you found are the right things and the good things for someone training, to be a professional wrestler?
I've had a great bringing into wrestling, where both of my trainers have really they've been strict, and they've set rules where sometimes I'm like, oh, that's stupid, but in the end they're trying to help me and me be a better person. And I feel like in wrestling you do need a person who's there to want you to get better, but also is not going to make you happy 100% of the time. Yesterday I was at training, and Ronnie's like, okay, this is what we're working on because this is what you need to work on. And I was like, dang, okay, because I'm not good at it. So I'm frustrated. I'm like, I can do this. I just don't know why. But it's that thing where he kept going and going until I got it. I might have not been happy, but it's what's best for me. And that's what I feel like trainers should all be doing. Don't make your students happy. Do what's best for them and get them to where they should be.
Right. I mean, because you get that one thing that you get stuck up on, and you can't do it, and you finally get it, and you're like, okay, you're mad that they pushed you, but you're happy that you've got it, and it's unlocked now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you started, and I'm kind of getting into asking this, what was that kind of first week, 2 weeks like of just starting from zero and getting into a routine?
For me, I've made up my mind when I was very young that I want to be a professional wrestler. So before I even started wrestling, I was doing other sports to say, oh, this is what's going to help me when I do start wrestling.
Okay, what did you do?
I did cheerleading, and I also did cross country for 2 years, because I was like, oh, cross country will help with my cardio, and I'll be good in the ring, and I can breathe, even though I suck at running. I will still try my best. And then cheerleading was really more for building up strength. And I said for flipping, even though I still am not 100% comfortable with it, it was always to help me build up to it. So when I started wrestling, I was already doing cheer, I think 3 times a week. So when wrestling started, it was 2 times a week. So I was like, okay, my body's ready for this. Even then, at some points, I would still get exhausted and be blown up. But I knew from cheerleading that it's okay, after I get used to this, it's not going to be as hard as it was.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I mean, you used the things you had, got ready. When you were younger, what were like the matches or wrestlers that you saw that were like, you know what, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna go, make a living at this.
So when I was younger, Mouse, who's a photographer and also my stepfather, he introduced me to wrestling. And what I really fell in love with was NXT when Bailey was there, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, and people like that. So that's when I started to like really being like, oh, this is definitely what I want to do.
It was interesting, like, I'm a little older, but like seeing those people, guys like Balor, come from New Japan and Kevin come from Ring of Honor into NXT when NXT was just blowing up,
Hmm.
was great just as a fan to see these people who I went to a show in Massachusetts and watched Kevin Owens, tear somebody up in front of 300 people. Now he gets to, he goes to like, the Barclays or, these big 50,000 seat arenas and people are going nuts for Kevin Owens or Kevin's Dean as.
Yeah. I got to go to a few ROH shows and see Kevin Owens and Tommaso Ciampa and people like that. And it was like, oh, these are guys who I'm like, this is pretty cool.
Now, the recent, and we had mentioned before we started recording, I talked to Sarah Joy Shockey, who's awesome, by the way.
Mhm.
Sarah, we love you. About Slamilton 2. And you had a great match against Kylie Rae.
I did. Kylie has still been one of my favorite matches I've had up to today. It was one of those people who I've always wanted to wrestle. And for the longest time, I was like, that's my dream match. Because in my mind, it was going to happen no time soon. I was like, who wants to see that?
A lot of
And
people,
then everybody's like, yes, we want that.
I think it's a lot of people see, that area, like be it freelance or be it Black Label Pro, they kind of see that as like Kylie Rae territory. And anyone
Hmm.
who's coming up through there kind of has to wrestle her to, see what they're really about. Because, the smiles and the gear and the stuff with Kylie, when the bell rings, she tough. She'll get in there and fight you. What was that like kind of day of knowing going into Slamilton? It's big event for Black Label Pro, kind of leading up to getting in the ring with her.
um, so I was actually the last one in my family to find out that I was wrestling her.
Oh,
Um,
really?
my dad was told before me, and then my mom. And so I had no idea. I was like, oh, I'll be at Black Label, blah, blah, blah. And I didn't know until it was announced that I was wrestling her because everybody was like keeping it a secret because they knew it would make me too happy.
Right.
So, day of the show, I'm super excited. I'm pretty sure I did a seminar. I think it might have been the Ethan Page seminar. I can't remember. I
Okay.
remember doing a seminar, and then I looked at my mom and I said, I haven't ate. I need food because me being so excited, I was just like, oh, I forgot breakfast. Mom, I might pass out. She looked at me and was like, oh my God, I'll be right back. And I think she ran. I think I might have had a banana or something in the car, and she grabbed me a banana, and I sat there and ate my banana. I was like, I feel a lot better. I'm gonna go get ready to wrestle now. And then I finally get to the back. I'm dressed, I have my stuff on, and I'm just like, oh, this match is about to happen. I'm super excited.
Oh, so everybody knew before you did. Wow. And you mentioned Ethan Page. He's kind of been a presence there at Freelance and Black Label Pro. Coming
Hmm.
in, he's got this kind of friendly rivalry with Kylie Rae. What's having him around been like? 'Cause he bounces around so much. He single-handedly brought the vlog back, according to some people.
I think he's been a good thing for wrestling, and I think he's helping a lot of young wrestlers develop who they are a lot faster than they would without him. Because I think the way he explains things, he explains it very well. Where, like, even if you don't really truly understand wrestling terms, he can break it down to you where you're like, okay, click, I got it.
Yeah, he's I became kind of a fan, not right away, but when him and Josh Alexander started getting going, I'm a huge tag team wrestling fan, so seeing them together just tear people up has been great.
I
Little Miss,
love tag team wrestling. It's so much fun for me when two people work together.
who have been who have been some of your favorite partners that you've worked with in tag matches?
Um, One of my favorite has been Alice Crowley. I love tagging with her, and she's one of the best people. And I can't wait to see what she does with her career. I haven't really got a chance to tag with a lot of people. I wish I could tag with people more. I have too much fun with it because I'm like, oh, I have a dumb idea. Let's do this. And I also got to tag with Connor Everett at St. Louis Anarchy,
Okay.
and he's one of like my favorite people because he's so laid back, and then I'll just start messing with him. And I'm like, I'll have this stupid idea, and I'm not serious about it, and then he looks at me and we're doing that. At one Anarchy, we were facing Angela Slane and her tag team partners, and I looked at Connor and I was like, so when we throw our super kicks, can we just continue slapping our leg even though it doesn't work? I'm saying this as a joke, and Connor looked at me dead serious and was like, yeah, we're doing that. And I was like, oh no, I didn't mean that. We did it in the match and it got a huge pop, so I was like, oh, maybe that was for the best.
It's always good when you come up with something kind of off the wall like that, and like the crowd gets it, like they understand what you're doing, and it may seem like a horrible idea, like you were just joking, but when the crowd gets it, you're like, all right, that was a good idea. I think it worked. Who are some people you like to tag with, like on the independent scene? Maybe someone you've either kind of been on a show with that you haven't wrestled, or maybe just someone you've seen, on a show.
I feel like I would have a great time tagging with Kylie, actually. I feel like our personalities mesh really well, and I think it would be very interesting to see each other as a tag team.
You've got to do the matching blue gear again, because that really worked last time. The as like you've grown, you've seen your career here. What is also quick shout out to J Rose, who does all this work with Black Label Pro. J Rose, if you watch this, we love you and all the stuff you do. I know sometimes he gets a little not down, but he needs some encouragement. So I always want to say what's up to J Rose. During this quarantine, like how has it been to try and keep active and keep ring ready, for you? Have you had a chance to like work out or work on the backyard? Some folks are like doing home gyms. What's kind of been the routine?
I was doing sweat deck almost every day. I started doing DDP yoga. I recently slowed down from that. Probably last like 2 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know. I was doing that every day when quarantine first started, and then training for me just started back up. So I've been starting to be able to get in the ring a lot more. But during this time off, I really did take my time to like, okay, what can I still do to get better? So it was, okay, I'm going to go do yoga in my room for an hour. Then my mom would come down and me just be sweaty. She's like, is yoga really that hard? And I was like, okay, you do it with me. So my mom did yoga with us, and she goes, I'm too old to move like this. What do you mean you want me to put my legs up in the air?
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen today.
She just stood there and was like, I'm gonna do the modified position where I'm on my knee.
Just make it
and
work.
I'm halfway across the room, just all stretched out.
Yeah, I've done like a little bit of DDP yoga. I need to get back into it, and it's definitely, for my part, it's been worth it, because it makes it easy for folks who really haven't done yoga. I mean, I'm a former, I'm 6'3" and I'm like 240, and it's just someone my size doing yoga. He's about my size, maybe a little smaller. So DDP yoga, definitely worth it. Another cheap plug for somebody today.
It helped me build up a lot of muscle, and at the same time like get flexible. And like a lot of times I'll have like pain in my shoulders, so like when I did those stretches, it like relieves so much pain. And I feel like people don't think about it, but like when you start doing that almost every day, it starts to like relieve stress off your body.
Nice. Yeah, you kind of feel like it's the stress is kind of bleeding out, and your body just feels looser and a little more way easier to go, quicker than you normally.
Less tension.
Less tension. There you go. Talk to me about the big Starkz brand, because I've seen this on social media, and I find it amazing and entertaining. And
so the past month, a lot of things happened in wrestling, and my dad was just like, okay, I'm gonna do whatever it takes to protect my daughter. So I'm LeVar Ball, and I'm going to lose my mind. So this was a thing he really started, and then the rest of my family kind of caught on to it and was like, this is kind of funny. We're going to do this. So I'm the mellow of the group. I was always told I'm the favorite kid. My brother will try to say I'm not sometimes, and then he'll be like, you know what, you are the favorite.
Something
Um,
happens and you're like, yeah, she's the favorite. That's how it is.
he'll get in trouble randomly and be like, you know what, I know you're the favorite. It's okay.
Hey, so the Big Starkz Brand and your stepdad, he's a photographer, correct?
Yes, he takes pictures. He goes by Mouse Wrestling Adventures.
Yep. Seen him, I believe I follow him. If I don't, I will. But I've seen the flag. You are the mellow. You are the centerpiece of the Big Starkz Brand.
Yes.
And the goal is to grow the brand with folks that complement you and work well with you. What's the plan, or has he not revealed the plan?
So our plan right now is to make the family as big as possible, but there's still going to be the people who are exclusive and more like the main BSB.
Gotcha. And I love
Um,
I love the flags. I hope to get a T-shirt at some point. We'll see.
we just ordered some, so hopefully they're in soon where we can start putting them up online and shipping them out.
Now with shows kind of happening, there's a Beyond show in Jersey this weekend, GCW. How are things out there? Are there going to be shows? I know there was a show in Indiana, I believe, GCW show. So are outdoor shows going to be happening, or are people doing modified shows? What's it like out there for
So a few shows around here, I know they're trying to do it where everybody wears masks. There's actually a Paradigm show this Friday, or tomorrow, whenever people watch this. There's a show there, and they're going to do where seating's a little bit more spaced down. They give everybody space, and they're going to require everybody to wear masks, or they're going to hand them out of the door. But they're trying to make it as protected as possible. But I think it's like a company by company thing of what they're trying to do. I think everybody should do space out seating and masks. I think it's better to run outdoors, but if you don't have a venue outdoors, I understand running inside, but I would limit how many people you're letting in. Like Black Label has already said, we're limiting how many fans we're going to let into the show, guys. If you don't get a ticket, I'm sorry. We're trying to be as safe as possible, and I think that's the best route.
Yeah. The Beyond show, I guess, is going to be outside Atlantic City, one of the piers. I got to look. I'm actually doing like an unofficial preview later with another wrestler. So outside is cool. I'm all for outside shows. There happens up here in New England. And the venue that Black Label Pro's in, it's just one space venue. It's not like part of a bigger building.
Yes, it's one big, like, giant rectangle.
Yeah, so I mean, you're not going to have like the folks around. So do you know if they're doing like 25% capacity, 50%? Most places seem to be like between 25 and 30.
I think he said he only sold 30 or 50 tickets. I can't remember off the top of my head, but usually at Black Label there's, I want to say 100 or more, because like the shows are so much bigger than that. But I don't know, like I feel like he's doing what's right to keep everything that's with what's going on in the world. I think we really do need to think about, okay, how are we going to do things where the wrestlers are safe, the fans are safe, and we can continue doing this and we don't have to get shut down, because the last thing people want right now is wrestling to take a break again.
Yeah. I mean, and the bigger companies, obviously AEW is doing their stuff at Jacksonville, WWE, same thing. So they have the money to do that, but smaller places haven't. It's going to be the first Beyond show in over 4 months. So a lot of people are raring to get back to that. But otherwise, during this quarantine, like what's the Netflix clue? What's like keeping you busy?
So when I didn't have wrestling, I was like, okay, I need a replacement for my violence. I haven't got to be able to hit people. I haven't been able to just like roll around and do stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm going to play Call of Duty. So I got stuck on a Call of Duty hitch. I still am, so I'll probably play that later. So that's been my replacement for wrestling for like the longest time, and now I'm addicted to Call of Duty. And then I recently, which I found, my mother keeps telling me I'm too old for this, but it started to get me like really calm, because I was like, oh, the past months have been stressful. So I've been watching Minecraft videos.
Okay.
There's this guy I really like to watch on YouTube. His name is Dream, and he does like speed runs, and I think he holds a world record for like the fastest time completing Minecraft. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. This is what I watch all day. I'll either watch that or Rust videos, which is another video game.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm aware of the Minecraft ones. And like, they seem to be like oddly calming. Like you're just watching him do all this stuff, and it just seems to like kind of hit that button in your head. Like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna take it easy. In terms of wrestling, and I've been kind of pushing this with the other folks I've talked to. Who are you looking at facing as we get back to not normal, a new normal, but as we move forward to hopefully wrestling returns? Who are some people you want to face, or you were supposed to face and didn't because of the quarantine?
Um, I'm really looking forward to being able to wrestle Alley Cat at some point this year. Even though we've been around each other so much, we still haven't got the chance to wrestle. And I know this is a stretch, but I would love to wrestle Millie McKenzie, and I've said this so many times. She's one of those wrestlers that I found out about, and I was like, oh, yeah, I definitely want to wrestle her.
Nice. Yeah, Allie's wrestling the Beyond show this weekend. She's wrestling Max Caster, and I talked to Max a couple weeks ago, and he's excited for that match. So I'm hoping that'll be a fun one. Now you're based in the Midwest. Any notions on like coming out here to New England and getting in the mix out here, because we've got a lot going on. We got plenty of folks for you to match up with.
Hey, I'm totally down. If I get the chance, I'll be there.
Because we've got like the Sea Stars, Layla Hirsch, Dave Yan. We've got all these great
They're all great wrestlers, and I would love any chance I would get to be in the ring with any of them.
Now, and I'm just going to instigate a little bit here because independent wrestling. Warhorse has got the independent wrestling title. You got designs on that?
One more time.
Warhorse and the independent wrestling title. I know he's a busy guy, but any designs on that? And I've been asking this question about everybody.
I call Warhorse my son because one day he randomly walked up to me and was like, "Dad." Apparently he does this to multiple other people, but I just started calling my son after that. So I would happily beat him up and take the title from him.
All right. Everyone I've talked to, I've mentioned it because, he's taken that title and it's blown up, and he'll defend it.
He's made it bigger.
Yeah, he's made it big. And I think that was the whole point of that title, not to disparage the folks who held it before, but he's defended it against anyone and everyone at any promotion. And, I think the more different people you can face, the better. You face him, and then he faces somebody else the next night, and he's totally down for it.
Mm-hmm.
And in terms of, is there any type of like old school wrestling that you watch, like older than NXT, that like entertains you or anything like that?
That's actually a tough question. So I never really choose the wrestling that goes on the TV. I'll just go downstairs and be like, okay, I want to watch wrestling. And then Mouse will randomly pull up whatever he feels like we want to watch. So we've watched like old ROH shows, and we watched old WWE. For one of the podcasts I did, I watched a really old Nitro, and I was like, I don't know why, but I love this because I got to see the Giant, Big Show as the Giant with hair, and I was like, Big Show has hair? What is this?
Yeah, he's not skinny, but he's a lot smaller than he is now. He's got the long hair. He was kind of like the big, like that late '90s, WCW, like right. Like when Nitro started and just before they blew up with the NWO was like really entertaining TV, because they were kind of the first, Raw was doing its thing, but like I guess Nitro went live every week, and it seemed like it was appointment TV. Like you had to sit down and watch Nitro to see what was going on. Were you ever like with women's wrestling, was there anything like specific that you saw aside from NXT, maybe older or other promotions that you've seen that stands out to you?
Shimmer was always one of those promotions that really stood out, and Rise, where they made it exclusively for girls. And I love what Girl Fight is doing, where they were making it exclusive for girls, and they're trying all they can to show you the best women that are out here and some new up and coming talent that are supposed to be the next big thing.
Yeah. And there seems to, today we seem to have more of an embrace of women's wrestling and the talent that's out there. I kind of see this, I've seen it being an older fan, having, fans who weren't about women's wrestling. Now there's been a total sea change. Where where do you think that has come from? Has it just been, people attitudes change, the wrestling is more of what they want to see? Where do you think that change has come from?
I just think there was a switch where it kind of switched from like the divas time where it was, oh, we're using women as like this, to okay, we want women to be now seen as professional wrestlers and this is going to be seen as this. No disrespect on those girls because they still did great time wrestling and it was amazing, but it was just how you showed the girls and how you represented them and how it's changed and evolved, and it's also how people the past few years have evolved and wrestling has evolved.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been great because the branding was, and I learned this after the fact, that during like the whole Divas era, they were getting like 2 minutes, 3 minutes on TV, but at house shows they were wrestling like 20-minute matches and not being able to do that on Raw or SmackDown. And that was like, that's not cool at all. And I learned it after the fact, after kind of like being a little derisive about the Divas era.
Yeah. Yeah, now they have a much bigger platform to show what they can do.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you're paying attention to AEW, but they're bringing in last night. Ivelisse made her AEW debut. I think Diamante too, and they're talking about they announced a women's tag tournament.
Oh, that would be really exciting.
I guess there's going to be a cup at the end of it. I don't know if there's going to be titles, but they're talking like 18 or 10 teams. I don't know if they're going to be pulling people in. Maybe slide in there, or somebody slides in there.
I'll be excited to see what happens. I can't wait to see when that does start.
Nice. Now, what else aside from getting back to normal? What other things have, aside from like the Call of Duty and the stuff? Like, what other things are you doing to keep busy during this mess?
So when I started wrestling, I didn't really have much downtime. During this quarantine, I started painting again. So
Cool.
I think I posted one of my paintings online. It was the Pinky Promise painting that I did. But I've done like a bunch of other ones. And Ben Casty, who came down here a few days ago, we're working on a painting together of one of our favorite bands called the Front Bottoms. And before Corona, we were supposed to go to one of their concerts in, I believe, September. And I'm still sad that's not going to happen. But we'll figure out a time again to go see them.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's concerts aren't going to be happening. I know up here, I'm in Connecticut, and not for a bit. We'll see.
I saw someone recently do a like live concert over like the phone, and like you could watch it online, and people were like, "Oh, this is actually kind of interesting. We can be at home and still listen to your music while you're on stage."
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, places like Comic-Con's doing a whole virtual event starting today and going through the weekend. So it's forcing everyone, and even wrestling companies, to adapt, use new technology, get people engaged in streaming, all of that, and keep people interested. Because I hope everyone comes back, but some promotions may not come back, or may not come back as big as they were prior to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, Billy, again, Big Starkz Brand's great. Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Billie Starkz. It's Billie, and then Starkz is Stark, and then it ends with a Z because I try to be fancy.
I love it, and I love your logo, the cow with the hair.
Oh, thank you. I have a weird like love for cows, even though my mom hates it. I was like, I'm gonna own a cow, and you're gonna have to take care of it when I'm gone at wrestling shows. And she's like, I swear to God, if you leave me with a cow, you're leaving me with a house too.
My mom's a big cow.
Recently, that if she's not gonna let me buy a cow, I'm gonna buy a baby duck, and there's gonna be a baby duck running around the house. And she goes, "We already have 2 dogs. You're not buying a duck."
What would be the duck's name?
Ooh, I haven't thought that. I feel like Sir Quacks a lot.
Okay.
Just a little baby duck, Sir Quacks a lot.
This is what you get the duck. You're home for like a month, and then you like book like a big like run of shows, and you're just not around. And she's just stuck with this duck, and then eventually she like falls in love with it, so she's not mad at you. Like, her and the duck are friends now. Because
I feel like I could hide the duck for at least a couple of weeks, and then I would just leave to go to work one day, and she'd come up to my room to try to like clean up something, just see the little duck on my bed.
So a cow, a duck. What else do you have space for?
We really don't have space for it. I'm just like, I want all of these animals. I don't know why. It's just like, I love just anything that I can cuddle with or I think is adorable. It's like, yeah, I like this.
All right.
So as many animals as possible that aren't like scary looking, I automatically am like, yeah, I'll take you.
Thank you. All right. So before I let you go, just up and Kylie Rae aside, if you could face anyone on like AW roster, WWE roster, Impact roster, who would you want to face, and what type of match would you want it to be?
Ooh. Uh I feel like a lot of people would love to see me wrestle Chris Statlander, and I feel like we would have a great match.
Yeah, Chris,
And I think I would just want to be a regular singles match.
just straight up one on one, no time limit, just go until can't go.
Just go until there's a win.
That's awesome. She's great. Seeing her come up and then go to AEW has been awesome. She's a little injured right now, but that would be a heck of a match. Seeing how you went toe to toe with Kylie, I think you and Chris would match up very, very well. Well, again, thanks everyone so much. Thanks, Billy, for coming on our little platform here today. Billy, really appreciate the time, and you can find her on her socials. Give her a follow. I'm just going to wait till the Big Starkz Brand T-shirts drop, and then watch the growth of the brand from there.